So I did a video a few months ago about how I thought that the exclusion of ships from Assassin's Creed Unity was a bad idea. And there were a bunch of you guys who thought it was a great idea to not have them, and that the ship battles in Black Flag were awful and pointless and boring. Many of you further poo-pooed me for saying that I wasn't a true AC fan for not supporting Unity, that it was going to have great stealth mechanics and groundbreaking graphics, and be true to the Assassin's Creed original mechanics. And for a while I thought that perhaps I had been too harsh on the game, so I waited and saw that a friend had purchased the game, so I got the game to play the co-op with him. I really should have listened to my original thoughts, because as everyone else has pretty much stated, Unity is the worst entry in the entire franchise's history. A plethora of glitches, broken gameplay, completely underwhelming co-op, and a story that is near identical to Ezio's except much, much less interesting. I returned the game after 4 days. I haven't returned a game that fast since Two Worlds. So what did I do? I made a half-minded purchase and exchanged my Unity for the game that I actually didn't have much hope for in the first place, Rogue. And in fact, I loved it. I have actually played it so much that I'm still playing it well after the story is ended. So what made Rogue so good for me? Well, it's because it's Black Flag again, which was actually a bit of a turnoff for me on first impressions. The mechanics look the same, the combat looked the same, the game looked the same, but that's because the amount of people working on this game was incredibly minimal in comparison to Unity's, but that's not the point. But once I started to play it, I found it actually a lot more interesting than I thought. The combat, while the same, is actually slightly different due to the weapons that Shay is using. He's using a long sword and a short blade. This actually changes up the way he fights in a way, and adds some new animations. The ship combat was modified to be much more challenging, so you weren't a juggernaut on the sea, but it made it that much more entertaining. Then they made everything from the ship fleet minigame to the animus fragments mean something. By combining the few good things of AC3 with the many awesome bits of Black Flag, I actually believe that Rogue is one of my favorite games in Assassin's Creed history. And all of you fools who are still trying to defend Unity are just digging your own graves. The game still hasn't been fixed, even though it's already been a month. It's now less than half its original retail price, and the game still sucks. Stealth has always been a side component of Assassin's Creed. It can still be used, but essentially the only thing you will miss out on for going in guns blazing will be less experience or money. But it isn't an essential aspect of the game like Dishonored or Splinter Cell. The only real stealth penalties in Assassin's Creed are mission fails, even though you could just as well fight them off even if you were seen. I'll give Unity one thing though. It definitely has made me believe that the next game could be good. What I mean by this is look at Assassin's Creed's history. AC1 had a great idea, but not really that well executed. AC2 fixed all that and was able to make 2 more games based on that same concept that were really good. Then came Assassin's Creed 3. Once again, an interesting concept, but the game sucked. Then came Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and it was awesome. It seems that Ubisoft never gets it right the first time with their Assassin's Creed games. While I'm not defending that aspect, I will say that the second iteration of that first try is always the much better game. So even though Ubisoft have basically been so half-assed and belligerent this year, they've made EA look like the divine, I actually think that the next Assassin's Creed game in London will be a decent game, since they have realized all the mistakes and issues they've made with Unity, so they should be able to fix those and deliver a great game. Or it could be another Watch Dogs again, won't that be a treat?